here we are. Thank you very much again for joining. This is a joint webinar, as you know already, by the event description, by the agenda. We are organizing this joint webinar to present a white paper. We've been working together for the past months, several projects, mainly the upP-ET, Preserve, UPLIFT, and BioSupPack projects. We are, so to say, a cluster of projects that have been working on technical aspects that we have as common denominators in our projects. Obviously, our goals, three of us actually are funded by the same call, upP-ET, Preserve, and UPLIFT. And we are working towards a similar or very close goal. And that's why we have been working together on technical aspects, mainly on standardization, on policy affairs, and on citizen awareness and public awareness in 3 different working groups. And this is a long-standing collaboration. Some of our projects are at the end of their life. Preserve is finishing, for example, in December. And therefore, we have been working for the past months and even years. And this is kind of the fruit that has developed from this very joint collaboration. So today we have I provide then an overview of the key insights of this white paper. This white paper is right now live in Zenodo, in the Preserve and the BioSupPack community. It will be soon in the communities of the other projects in Zenodo. You can look for it. I'll leave the link later here or in the chat so that you can access it. And what I'm going to do today is provide a bit of its key insights. That's the first part of this webinar today, the white paper presentation. I'll focus on how on the main aspects of this white paper, on how upcycling strategies can significantly reduce packaging waste while improving material performance. That is upcycling, put simple. And this will be followed then by the presentations of the 4 EU projects, upP-ET, UPLIFT, Preserve, and BioSupPack, and then of a panel with the 4 projects plus Moebius, who is a project, Maria Jose, who takes the relay, so to say, on these goals and this mission and ambition to bring sustainable packaging to the EU front. And the head of EU affairs at European Bioplastic, Roberto Ferriño, will also be a panelist. And then we will finalize our webinar today with a Q&A in which you can put all the questions and have a discussion with everyone involved. So let's start with the white paper presentation. Today I have the host hat and also the white paper presentation. Thanks for putting with me. So this white paper presentation is a collaborative effort. We have all the people that is here in this webinar and is going to present, but also all the colleagues from European Bioplastics, from all the projects have jointly collaborated in this white paper. And this is, I have to thank you, my colleagues, first for all the support and all the expertise and experience that you've put into this. Thank you very much. Just very quickly, who I am. I'm speaking a lot, but I have not introduced myself properly yet. I am EU project manager at European Bioplastics, and European Bioplastics is...
Nina, they're good with funds, because I know that last year they got awarded an upstream project.
Yeah. Could you please mute yourself, whoever is there? Sorry, I was not sure if it was a question or not. Thank you. So I'm the EU project manager at the European Bioplastics, and who doesn't know who we are the association representing the bioplastics industry in Europe. We advocate for a thriving regulatory framework that allows the bioplastics industry to thrive. We also participate in research and innovation projects. That's how I come here in the picture, and several of them who are today here, BioSupPack, Preserve, and Moebius, which starting now, but also Biomac, and also BioCycle that is kicking off tomorrow, actually, or the day after tomorrow. So this white paper, as I say, is a result of a collaborative effort. As you can imagine here, there are many players from research and innovation and industrial players and associations and civil society that have that are working in these projects. And today I'll provide this very quick overview. Of course, we are always here at your disposal, at your reach if you want to consult anything or make any comment or any question about the white paper once you get to read it in full. So, a collaborative effort. This is our project, and this is the origin, the clashing of the EU-funded project. So, in concretely, why did we come up with this paper? Actually, this is the main, right? Why? Well, a white paper, it's this document that we wanted to share with key stakeholders, with the key challenges that we have identified in the years that we have been developing our projects. And this, of course, this started already even in the the proposal phase, where we identified that there is a need, there is a gap, or there is an opportunity as well. And that's why these projects came to life. And all the years that we have been working towards our mission and our vision have allowed us to identify key challenges that are there to transform the food and drink packaging sector through upcycling strategies and solutions and sustainable products. So apart from identifying the challenges, that is kind of maybe the easiest part of it, we also wanted to propose recommendations for the future and how to truly achieve this transformation and how to go beyond 2030 and beyond, how to help us all to actually be able to meet these goals. But of course, there is a context and a background for this, why we're doing this, because we want to acknowledge the scale of the problem. No, there is a packaging waste problem. And as you can see in this infographic, in 2021 and in the paper, in 2021, the EU generated approximately 85 million tons of packaging waste, with plastics making up to 19% of it. And that's about 189 kilograms of packaging waste per person per year. This is, and it's, I don't have to mention where does this waste end up, right? So this is something that it's a problem, and there are several strategies to help reduce this problem or contribute to the disappearance of this problem. Despite ongoing efforts, actually achieving EU sustainability targets, which you can read more in depth in the paper, this remains a major challenge, particularly in the food and drink sector, which is a significant contributor to this waste. And there is where our white paper comes in, aiming to transform the packaging landscape by focusing on upcycling strategies and circular economy principles. So we come from an acknowledgement that we need innovative solutions to achieve circular economy goals. And that's where we are working. And this is our premise. And our ambition is to contribute to upcycling up to 60% of food and drink packaging waste by 2030 by upcycling, but with several strategies and processes and solutions, one of them being upcycling. Here, a process that leads to improved value and or properties of the new material. This is an extract of our paper. And our mission, common denominator, is to design and develop novel sustainable packaging materials suited for every end-of-life scenarios, develop cutting-edge technologies that transform packaging waste into valuable second materials, and propose doable upcycling solutions with minimal environmental impact, and provide holistic circular solutions. I'm sorry, I'm admitting still people. Welcome, actually, to our webinar. So this white paper is built actually on 3 pillars of innovation. And this is what we focused our paper on: circularity by design, upcycling strategies and solutions, and end-of-life options. The first is circularity by design, which means designing packaging with sustainability in mind from the start. The second is upcycling strategies, which utilize biotechnology and other advanced methods to turn waste into valuable new materials or other materials. The third focuses on end-of-life solutions, obviously ensuring that packaging is not only biodegradable, but also recyclable and circular. So within the paper, the solutions, strategies, and innovations, but the project comes to light. And I will leave that part to the expert. That's where they come later, and they will present their projects and make the connection to actually these key challenges that they have identified and potential solutions or recommendations to actually overcome these challenges. And that's why we put forward these recommendations, right? And the white paper aims to offer concrete ones to help the industry and regulators, actually. We have identified then several dimensions of several types of challenges and then recommendations regard to them. One of them is technological and logistical. Today, we face limitations in current waste management systems, for example, and there's need to invest in infrastructure that can sort and recycle bio-based materials more effectively, and investment in advanced sorting technologies and recycling processes crucial. Here, as you can see, we have one main recommendation for the future on this realm. For the whole, of course, the whole paper, you will have for the whole all recommendations and a more in-depth analysis of the challenge. You can see the paper. Another one is value chain and market integration. Key challenges in this domain are the economic viability of upcycling processes, defining value chains and stakeholder engagement, feedstock market impact, lack of market parity with fossil-based materials. This might not be new to you, and probably, of course, the recommendations neither, since this is a collaborative effort that probably ends into a common understanding of the challenge and the recommendations and the way to go, and actually the wider understanding and support of this kind of recommendations, then a brighter the future. These are some of the recommendations that we have linked to this kind of challenge. Again, more you can see in the paper. I'm still admitting people to the Zoom meeting. Welcome. For you who have joined just now, I'm going through the key challenges and future recommendations that we have identified in the white paper. Please keep yourself muted. A third section dimension.
No, I did it better.
Please could you mute yourself? I'll not able right now to mute. Thank you. So regulatory and compliance is another key dimension, key challenges that we have identified. Please, could you mute yourself? I have to excuse me. Excuse everyone, I need to mute someone. This is the glitches of the webinars online. I'm so sorry about that. So the regulatory and compliance is one of the key challenges as well. Linked to the regulatory uncertainties and the requirements that bio-based materials need to comply with. as you might know, there have been quite some developments in the legislative front at the European level in the last years that affect this field or our field of application, and therefore this is something that, of course, affects how this can develop further in the future. And some recommendations that we have is, for example, to ensure a harmonization of the policy framework. You will be able to see the white paper, exhaustive list of all the policy initiatives, frameworks, plans, and regulations that are applicable to our field. And you'll see that there's a myriad of regulations, sometimes non-consistent, sometimes contradictory, and sometimes not yet defined. And that, of course, makes it difficult for these potential solutions to find their foundation to actually be able to then develop further. Of course, standards are really important in this realm, in this challenge as well, and they are something that can actually help very much our field to develop. Then a last one that we have identified is on education, awareness, and cultural shift that we've named. This refers, of course, to public awareness, because public education is, in the end, essential, and we need consumers to understand how to properly dispose of bio-based and upcycled packaging, also to understand what is they're buying, of course. And then we advocate for public awareness campaigns that highlight the benefits of these sustainable solutions, but also on not only on the public awareness, but on education, to continue investing in education, in curricula and skill development that have to actually, they are linked to our sector. And that, in conclusion, is what the paper showcases, and how EU research is leading the charge in creating the sustainable circular solutions for packaging. Now you have the full paper here on this link. I'll put it in the chat so that you can then at the end read it, because I don't want you to be distracted with during the presentations of the projects that come now. Preserve, UPLIFT, upP-ET, and BioSupPack are pioneering new materials and processes that can significantly reduce waste and environmental impact. They are the ones who are doing all the work and that have identified these challenges and these recommendations. And I'll let then my colleague, Christina, I'm sorry, I'll stop sharing. My colleague, Christina Eisenberger, who is the technical coordinator at Preserve. She's a research group leader at the Sustainable Packaging Institute at the Albstadt Sigmaringen University with a doctorate in food microbiology. And she's actively participating in several multinational research projects in Preserve. She acts as a scientific and technical coordinator, and she's a major force behind, obviously, this white paper. She's going to present now the Preserve project. Christina, if you may.
Yeah, thank you, Estella, for this kind introduction. Also, good morning from my side to everybody. As Estella already mentioned, I'm Christina Eisenberg, and I will present you the Preserve project. But first of all, I would like to present myself a bit. So I'm Christina Eisenberger from the Sustainable Packaging Institute in Sigmaringen. And well, where is Sigmaringen and what is the Sustainable Packaging Institute? Okay, so Sigmaringen, you can see here, is a rather small city in southern Germany between Stuttgart and Lake of Constance, with an historic center with its very nice castle and a not so historic building where we're located, the so-called Forschungsfabrik. The Sustainable Packaging Institute, also called SPI for short, is involved in research and teaching in 6 thematic areas. And as you can already guess by the name, we're focusing on sustainable packaging concepts because we are on a mission. on a mission to competently and holistically support all players along the entire value chain, in the packaging industry along the entire value chain and the life science industry on the way towards a more sustainable circular bioeconomy. And how are we doing this? So we have the 6 thematic areas, which start with biogenic raw materials, followed by process design and process technology, as well as functional materials or functionalization of materials. As you know, function is very important in packaging. Also involved in smart packaging, which comprises active and intelligent packaging, preservation in packaging, and last but not least, bioeconomy and sustainability. So here we're talking about concept developments, life cycle assessments, for instance, and together with our colleagues at the Upcycling University, we are also doing consumer perception studies. We are publicly funded, so we contribute to multiple publicly funded projects, and this is an excerpt from it. And today we will talk about Preserve. Okay, so Preserve is a 4-year project. We started in January 2021, which means that it will end in December this year. It was funded under the Horizon 2020 program. We're 23 partners, which include 7 research organizations, but also partners along the value chain, the circular supply and value chain with large end users, and of course the largest bioplastic producers as users association. As you can see here on the right, this is our circular Preserve value chains. Here we have the raw materials, plastic packaging converters, end users, and up and recyclers. And as you can see, for each of these sectors, we have at least 3 industrial partners. So I think we are pretty good depicting our value chain. But why is Preserve actually needed? So what is the idea? So in 2021, 90 million tons of packaging were produced in Europe, and that also means that Europe is far from its sustainability goals, which requires, for instance, a recycling rate of 70% by 2030, and all packaging to be designed for recycling. However, in 2021, the recycling rates varied between the member states from 38 to 80%. Yes, 80% sounds great, 38% not so great, and the average was 64. However, we need to take into account that this comprises all packaging types, so plastic packaging as well as fiber-based packaging, and of course, fiber-based packaging has a stunning recycling rate. For around 84%, whereas the recycling rate of plastic packaging is not even 40%. So we need high-performance bio-based materials to be developed and produced. And of course, the recycling approaches need to be better established and in motion to be able to adapt and to be adapted. And also for certain applications, biodegradability should be expanded to more environments. So what are the objectives? What are we actually doing? So we are starting here with new biopolymer synthesis on the left. And of course, what you can do from that, you can produce packaging. However, in Preserve, we have this bioplastic upgrading and upcycling toolbox, which contains protein barrier coatings and adhesives, PHA coatings, electron radiation treatment, and enzymation. And we use all of these different tools in different combinations to produce packaging, which will then, of course, be validated and tested at the end of life. We also have multiple options depending on the material we use. So for instance, when we are talking about biodegradable plastic, we can, of course, go for biodegradation, resulting in biomass that can be used again for biopolymer synthesis. Or we go for material recovery and go for enzymatic recycling, also, of course, depending on the material, which results in the degradation or conversion from polymers to oligomers, which can again be used for new biopolymer synthesis. or we go for self-reinforcement of bicomponent biopolymers or delamination. And what we then have are recycled biopolymers. And these recycled biopolymers can then enter again our upgrading and upcycling toolbox to generate transport packaging and personal care packaging in form of textiles and composites. Okay, and now I would also like to show you some of the results. I will not go directly to the upcycling, but I will go one step before and show you how we're addressing the delamination, because we're working with multi-layers. Multi-layers are currently not very good recyclable, or they're actually not really recycled at the moment. And in order to be able to upcycle for secondaries, we of course need to recycle first. And how do we do this? A very important aspect here is our protein coating that we use in the project. So we use whey because it's a byproduct of cheese manufacturing. In Europe, the annual production is about 59 million tons. And at the moment, about only half of it is further used for whey protein production. So 50, which means that 50% are currently discarded. So it's a non-food competitive source. And it's already been shown to have like very good oxygen barrier properties. And the use of this protein layer will then allow the separation of multi-layer structures and recycling, and how this is done depicted here. So this is reflecting a multi-layer, an artificial multi-layer, with here the whey protein layer in between plastics. And what then happens during delamination, this protein layer is dissolved, and then you can separate the other two layers according to the respective material cycle. So far, we achieved upcycling to pilot plant. We're also trying to upscale it to industrial level, but of course, industrial level is sometimes a bit tricky, more due to equipment than to the raw material. What we can see here, so we are here talking about PLA and PET, that a single layer of whey protein coating here and here reduced the oxygen transmission rate by a factor of 26 in case of PLA, and a factor of 3.5 in case of PET. Our colleagues from the Fraunhofer Institute, IBB, however, were able to metallize this protein layer, which you can see here. This nice shiny film is PET film coated with a protein layer, and this protein layer is then metallized. And as you can see here, that we then were able to further reduce the oxygen transmission rate of PLA by a factor of more than 160 for PLA, and for PET factor of more than 130. And this is actually outcompeting the OTR of commercially available metallized films. Plus has the advantage of being able to be delaminated. And the delamination was then, as investigated by our colleagues from Planet Bioplastics. They are using enzymatic soaps. They're tested, as you can see, various products, and two of them, extraceme and sodium hydroxide, were able to fully remove the whey protein coating from the plastic films, and allowing the separation of the plastic film, which then allows the sorting into the corresponding material cycle. So as a quick take-home message, within Preserve, we showed that we have the potential for bio-based multi-layers to rethink food packaging. So what we do, we go from flow packs, trays, pouches, and beverage bricks to injected jars, bottles, carry-out boxes, and bags, because we have options to design for separation and recycling to be then applied in secondary high-performance applications. And with this, I'm at the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Christina. Thank you very much. We will have time later in the chat. You can leave any question that you'd like, and we can then go to the Q&A afterwards, and can Christina answer the questions. Now we're going to move to the next presentation from Alberto Barranca Jimenez from the UPLIFT project. Alberto is a biotechnologist and R&D officer at UPLIFT. And he has a degree in biotechnology and a PhD in chemical engineer. And he has been actually leading one of these working groups that I've talked about on our collaborative effort on the clusters. So please, Alberto, if you can start your presentation.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for paying attention. Thank you for the introduction, Estela. So I'm going to share my screen. So give me 1 second. Can you watch the presentation?
Yes, it's there.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Estela.
Thank you.
So, well, as Estela has introduced myself, I am the person in charge of leading the World Package 1 of UPLIFT project, very focused on standardization. But in this presentation, I will be very brief. I'm going to explain to you an overview of the project, about what are the main objectives, and also I'm going to try to link the project with the focus or the main idea of this webinar, that is try to identify what are the main challenges that this, not only this project but also the sister project has to face in the future. So the overall idea of the UPLIFT project is try to implement research about different biological strategies in order to valorize the food and drink packaging waste, in order to obtain new biopolymers, but also new monomers and also copolymers, in order to try to valorize this kind of waste. As you know, more and more in the future. So this project is very important, I believe, because also is very fixed in the biorefinery approach, and also is an impulse of the new biological recycling strategies. So this is the a main an overview of the intention of the project. And here we have the main impact. I believe try to achieve. For example, I believe can contribute to upcycle the food and drink packaging materials, which account for at least 6% of the market by 2030. So it's very important to focus the investigation in new alternatives to recycle and valorize this kind of waste, not only in the European Union, but also around the world. Also, I believe will favor novel standards and certification scheme to be applied. So this is one of the main important aspects, I think, in this webinar, that is aimed the public administration and the public organize to legislate or to make new official documents in order to favor this kind of project and this kind of recycling techniques. Also, one of the main impact that this project try to achieve is the delivery of novel plastic packaging solution with less environmental impact. So here is very important the concept of bioplastic and the biorefinery concept, and also try to contribute to bring the European plastic packaging industry in the forefront of innovation and sustainable worldwide. So this is the main impact that we have tried or we are trying to achieve during the execution of the UPLIFT project. And here, very in parallel with the description that I have explained to you in the first slide, here we have the general objective and also the main specific objective of this project. So the main objective is the development of a circular plastic packaging value chains in the food and drink sector by applying novel eco-design strategies and biochemical upcycling technology route. So in order to achieve this, in UPLIFT also, we try to combine biodepolymerization, so biological recycling of plastic, and bio-based building in order to obtain bio-based building block to obtain smarter and renewable plastic materials, which will enable the effective upcycling of plastic packaging waste stream. Also, we have, or we are going to try to fully integrate the biochemical upcycling technology within the already existing and more mature recycling processes and fermentation processes. So this point is very important because, as you know, the TRL of the currently the TRL of the biological recycling currently is not as higher than, for example, other chemical recycling strategies, for example, the pyrolysis. So here we have the vision to complement this biological recycling strategy with other ones that currently are present in the market. So these visions or this perspective is really important if we want to scale up this technology, or if we want that this technology achieve in the future the market TRL. So here we have the main technology, the overview of the different work packages that justify the execution and the achievement of the objectives that I have explained to you. So I lead the work package one, that is the plastic value chains analysis, and I'm very focused in a proposal of standardization for this project that also is very in line with the sister project, with the other ones. Despite they have other objective, I think that the main interest is common. And also we have really experimental several experimental work package. So we are very focusing on the polymerization of the different plastic streams, then in the fermentation of the building blocks in order to obtain new monomers, polymers, copolymers, and also other interesting compounds that, for example, recycle plastificants. So here, I think that is expressed in this scheme the main structure of the methodology that we have followed during the execution of UPLIFT. Here we have an overview of the partner. The coordinator is the Aalborg University that is based on Denmark. And as you can watch, we have a really a real representation of the value chain. So we have different partners involved in the research phase, for example, Aalborg University or IMPLUS as technological center, and we have and we are very close also in this consortium with companies that are involved in the scale up of the different technologies, for example, Biomi, that is based in Croatia. So I think that this is very important to remark that this consortium is very diverse and cover all actors present in the value chains. So this is the last slide. So what are the main key challenges? I suppose that we are going to discuss it during the panel, but I think that most of them are common in the sister project, but specify in UPLIFT. One of the main challenges that we have to face is the definition of value chains interesting in this technology, and also try to get the stakeholder engagement. This is very crucial if we want to continue with the mature process of this technology. Also, the economical part, okay, for example, the feedstock market impact, close with the UPLIFT technologies. Also regarding, I think that in this case, we, as I have told you, we need the support of the different public organisms, the regulatory uncertainties, inconsistencies and disconnected European regulatory framework. I think that we are in the point that it's important to aim these new upcycling techniques, these new biological recycling techniques. I think that we are in the point that the public administration has to make an impulse in order to not forget these new technologies. For example, we have different examples that the European Union administration has taken into account these new valorization strategies, but also specifically with UPLIFT technology, for example, the low TRL. This is common for all biological recycling strategies. The cost of enzymes, because this is crucial for the UPLIFT technologies proposal, irregularity in the material supply, faster advance of other chemical recycling techniques. In my opinion, this is not, or this not should be a challenge. I think that we have to grow in the same time with this new chemical recycling technique. I think that it will be an opportunity for the new biological or enzymatic strategies. And also, for example, the mechanical or physical properties of the final product. So I wanted to highlight this point because I think that the main intention of this webinar is not only to present the project, but also be conscious of what are the main challenges that we have to face up, and also try to make a starting point to try to design a strategy, okay, in order to advance in this new upcycling and recycling technologies. So I think that's all from my side. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alberto. That was great. Thank you very much. We have now the presentations from Preserve and UPLIFT. And now I'd like to pass then the floor to Fuensanta Monzo Sanchez, who is the coordinator, the project coordinator of the upP-ET project. She has a degree in chemical science from the Complutense University of Madrid and a PhD in industrial technologies from the Polytechnic University of Cartagena, and more than 10 years as R&D project manager in CETEC. Fuensanta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Estela. I'm presenting a upP-ET project. First of all, an overview of the project.
Yeah, there you go. That's the screen. Perfect.
Because I cannot. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm starting by showing an overview of the project. The project will finalize in April 2025. There are 20 partners involved, covering different disciplines and expertise. We are not all, we don't have only experts in biotechnology, but also experts in plastic processing and also the food industry as end users to validate the packaging we are developing. And these partners comes from 10 countries in Europe. You can see here the upP-ET ecosystem. The final objective of the project was to propose an alternative to mechanical recycling of plastic packaging by developing different kind of biotechnologies that will treat the waste, the plastic packaging waste, in order to obtain a new plastic, biodegradable plastic, to be used for packaging manufacturing, and to be used again by the food industry. So we are proposing a circular solution for waste packaging. Here you can see part of our technical work packages. You can see that the main solution we are proposing is through biotechnology, being able to degrade PE and PET packaging, and the degradation product will be used in a biorefinery using two different kind of cell factories to produce PHVB, that is a biodegradable plastic, and also to develop a new PHV extraction process, a more sustainable, environmentally friendly extraction process. Side important tasks are the valorization of the byproducts that are generating in these bioprocesses, the development of new standards and certification schemes, and also evaluate the environmental and social and cost impact of the different projects. When it comes to novel standards, we have developed a new QA that has been published, and we are proposing a way of analyzing the hydroxyvalerate content in PHVB using MER spectroscopy technology. Here you can see key achievements. Our partner Enzymical has found novel PET enzymes able to degrade PET. Also, an important achievement has been a novel chemoenzymatical cascade reaction for the polymerization of polyethylene. This has been developed by the University of Greifswald. And a new paper has been published last week. You can see there the link to the paper. It's been an step forward, an important step forward to this enzymatic depolymerization of PE. Also, an important achievement from CETEC Biotechnology, they have optimized the PHBB production till and scaling up of 300 liters. And also you can see a link to a paper where they have optimized the process using waste from candy as a carbon source for the fermentation and the growing of the biomass. And also an important achievement has been a novel PHBB extraction using aqueous two-phase system, ATPS. This methodology has been developed by the University of Alicante, and they are preparing also a scientific paper to be published in the next month. When it comes to processing this PHBB we are producing, what we are doing is developing different blends. One blend for flexible packaging and other blends for rigid packaging. CETEC Biotechnology has been able to produce PHBB with different concentration of hydroxyvalerate from 10% hydroxyvalerate to 50% hydroxyvalerate. And we are using these different grades of PHBB to obtain different flexibility in packaging. Together with the development of the blends, we are working on evaluating the biodegradability and recyclability of the blends, and also evaluate the shelf life of the different packaging, the food in the different packaging, packaging by the end users. And you can see here that we are also trying to improve important performance of the packaging, such as thermal properties, barrier properties, and also mechanical properties and processability. Important key achievements of these two work packages 5 and 6 has been the development of different blends that are processable, and we've been able to obtain flexible films and also rigid packaging as trays. Biomi, Moses, Lund University, and CETEC has worked on obtaining these new materials and new packaging. And that's all from my side. You can visit our webpage, upP-ET, EU, sorry. And also you can visit an important platform that we have for citizen awareness, where you can see a MOOC for citizens to learn about upcycling, recycling, and the importance of the circular economy. And also you can download a virtual reality app where you can see firsthand the different development that the different partners have been working on.
Thank you very much, Vincenta. Thank you very much for presenting the upP-ET. I encourage you to go to the website and look for this MOOC and this app. It's wonderful to have this kind of tools, and I encourage you to visit them. Now I'll pass the floor to the fourth presentation, the last presentation, which is from the project BioSupPack. Rosa González Leiva from IMPLAS. She's a senior researcher at the back of the packaging group at IMPLAS, and she has a degree in chemistry and 18 years of experience in polymeric materials processing and new materials and product development for different applications, and is the technical coordinator of the BioSupPack project. Rosa, I see you are starting the screen sharing. Thank you. Let's.
Yes, I'm sharing, but I think you are not watching the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, I will try again. I don't know what's happening now.
I cannot see the presentation, but I can share it otherwise for you, Rosa, if.
Okay, okay, thank you, because I don't see the problem now.
Let's see, just a second. Can you see the presentation in presentation mode or in?
Are you sharing it, Estela?
Yes, you cannot see it?
No.
Okay. Just a second. These are the glitches of Zoom. Just a second, everyone. Let's see. I'll share it again.
Okay.
Can you see the presentation?
Now,
yeah,
yes,
I'll put
now
it in presentation mode. Is that okay now?
No, it's not in presentation mode.
Okay. Now?
Now it's okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stella. Well, I'm going to introduce BioSupPack project and the relationship with the other projects that has been included in this white paper. So, next slide, please, Stella. Well, the project has as a main objective to deliver high-performing packaging made of PHB as a bio-based material using a byproduct from the biorefinery sector. I will explain you later. Okay, the slide is now okay. Yes, thank you. And the sectors that will use this novel packaging are the food and beverage, cosmetics, and home care sectors. The objective is to produce this novel material by the upcycling of a byproduct, and also to demonstrate the upcycling of this novel packaging in order to work in a circular model. Okay, the project has the focus on producing this packaging using different technologies that are involved with no environmental damage. It is expected to comply with the industry needs. This is very important regarding cost performance ratio. Also considering that we are using novel materials, bio-based materials instead of fossil-based materials. And also the focus is on the consumers, okay? Because you know that currently the society, consumers have a lot of information. They want to be green and to use environmental friendly products, but there is a lot of information in the labeling and so on that is not clear for them. So we are also in the project, we are also to make some studies or some validations regarding consumers' acceptance of the novel packaging. It is expected that the project has a great impact in the different sectors that I've been telling, and also in the European bioplastics community, biorefinery sector, and the biotechnology industry has a very important role in the project. The idea is that with the development and the use of these new bio-based packages solutions, and also the upcycling of the future packaging waste by enzymatic recycling, a new value chain is created. Next slide, please. The concept of the project is shown here. The brewery industry, sorry, the slide has disappeared. No? Okay, thank you. The brewery industry has brew spent grains as a product in large quantities, and it's not seasonal byproduct that is around Europe, and it's a good candidate to obtain PHB by enzymatic fermentation of the sugars. So in the project, we are going to facilitate the accessibility to these sugars, and we are going to produce a PHB material that will be compounded to create new packaging materials for rigid packaging, specifically for rigid packaging, and also for coatings of fiber-based packaging. Then to get into a circular model, this packaging will be treated also in order to obtain new monomers by enzymatic recycling routes that will feed the production of the PHB material again. So the idea is to promote the development and the use of novel materials and packaging with lower environmental impact. Next slide, please. Okay, so which are the challenges of this European project? One of the challenges is the use of spent organic materials because they have an important potential to be upcycled and to have a additional uses compared to the current ones. For instance, in the case of blue spent grains, they are used for animal feed, for bioethanol production, but there is still a remaining amount that is estimated about 20% that is landfill, and we can use this remaining amount to be upcycled, okay, and to be used for the production of bioplastics. Next, please. Also, it is very important to know that this project impacts or influences the whole value chain because we are working in a circular model since the production of materials, the polymer synthesis, in this case PHB, until the mechanical and enzymatic recycling of the novel packaging waste that will close the loop. And it is very important to know that the intermediate roles or profiles of the companies around this loop are involved in this value chain. But it is also important to know that we are also creating new value chains because new roles appear in this circular model. For instance, the biorefinery industry, the brewery industry, providing this feedstock for producing PHB has an important role, and it is important to have well-tied the logistic aspects in order to be available to support this industry to provide this feedstock. Also, there are other innovations in the project that are added to this circular model. For instance, we are improving the efficiency of the production of PHB by using a pre-treatment of these blue spent grains that uses plasma technology. Plasma technology is going to be used also in the improvement of the packaging performance and also in the pre-treatment of the PHB-based packaging waste. So this has also to be incorporated in this value chain in order to get a whole process efficient and also considering the economical aspects. Next slide, please. So we can say that we have technical and economic challenges that are directly related to the project innovations. We are looking for high processes efficiency, high-performing bio-based products as well. Another challenge is related with the social acceptance of the new bio-based products, as I told you before, and also very important in this case, the logistics to ensure this circularity. It is important feedstock collection, feedstock availability, but also logistics considering the end of life of the novel packaging, because we have to be able to sort with high efficiency this novel packaging that will be included in the different packaging waste streams, and this will help to ensure that the recycling of this novel packaging will take place. Okay, and it is very important also to consider all the regulatory current regulatory regulations, current policies related to sustainability, and we have different, as you know, different regulations that have to be considered in this whole value chain. Okay, so next slide, please. So summarizing, you have more information in the white paper, but summarizing and regarding considering this specific project, I can say that for future recommendations, in order to have a high efficiency of all this process and get the market introduction, that is the final purpose of all these projects. It is important to invest in infrastructure for the introduction and the implementation of the project innovations. For instance, I mean feedstock pretreatment technology to increase efficiency of PSV production. Also in the sorting and the recycling of these materials, novel technologies like enzymatic recycling are very important to push forward, because they need investments, investments and research as well. Also, it's very important to support the optimization of the logistic aspects, support the scaling up of these novel technologies to increase TRLs of different stages involved in this project, and also to continue working on uncertainties about bio-based materials performance, because as you know, we are looking for applications that now are covered by fossil-based materials, and bio-based materials need still some improvements in order to achieve the same performance, and we have to work on achieving these same or higher performances of novel materials. And it is very important to inform all the communities, all the sectors, even consumers, that it is possible to use these bio-based materials in packaging applications. Also, it is important the price and also uncertainties on the legislative framework. And well, this is all from my side, and this is the last slide. Only to let you know the partners that are involved in this project. We are 17 partners around Europe, and UPLIFT is the project coordinator, but we have very important partners from the biotechnology sector, also important partners developing novel materials, novel formulations, and also end users, okay, that are interested in these novel products that we are developing.
Many thanks, Rosa. Thank you very much for this great presentation. I just stopped hopefully sharing the presentation. Thank you very much. We managed that glitch as always. Thank you very much, the four of you, for presenting the project. Now we are going to go to our panel discussion then, that it's going to be led by Alexandra Brankovic. She is from the well, I'll let her present herself. Actually, she's going to be our expert moderator for the panel. She works at the upP-ET project, and she's been working on this cluster and working group for policy and standardization along with us, and it's been a pleasure working with her. She's she's an expert in this topic, so please, Alexandra.
Hello everyone. Hello Estela, thank you. Good morning, welcome to our panel session. I will try to stick to our original timing, so let's say we will have around half an hour to try to finish by around 11:45, 11:50 maybe, to have enough time for your questions. As Estela said, my name is Alexandra Brankovic. I'm a researcher and policy analyst. By education, I'm an economist and engaged in the Institute for Development and Innovation in Serbia. Today at the panel, we will focus on the EU policies We will discuss how the policies and the innovation in upcycling impact one another. What are the challenges and what could be the opportunities that the future brings? But before we begin, let me please briefly introduce our panelists, who are tremendous experts in this field. You have already met Alberto, Fuensanta, Rosa, and Cristina. I will introduce also two other panelists. Today we have the honor to host Roberto Ferrigno, head of the EU affairs at European Bioplastics. He is currently based in Brussels, and he has held senior positions at various European and international organizations and companies. I will mention just a few: Independent Global Campaigning Network Greenpeace, non-governmental organization Worldwide Fund for Nature, and Weber Shandwick. We also have today with us Maria Jose Jimenez. She's a project manager at the TENE Research Center from Valencia in Spain. She's also representing Moebius project. It is a novel project that has commenced only this summer, if I'm correct. So, thank you, everyone. Welcome. If you agree, I will kick off the conversation so we don't lose any more time. Well, first of all, I would like to ask you, how well do you think that the EU policies have so far supported innovation in upcycling? Based on your experience, do you see any room for improvement? I don't know, Maria, would you like to maybe add a few words, your thoughts on this topic, on this question? Do you?
I think Maria is on mute.
No, we cannot hear you, Maria. Okay, any other input from our panelists? Fuensanta, would you like to add maybe your thoughts on this question?
Well, maybe I can jump in, Alexandra.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you.
Because this is my job. Basically, I'm heading the European Bioplastics team in Brussels, the team working on the EU policymaking. And we have been following over the past couple of years the the new packaging waste regulation. I believe this is a main legislative file affecting the packaging and your projects, basically. So to your question, I'm going to be blunt, and I'm going to say that so far innovation, and particularly packaging innovation, has not been really the priority of the EU policymaking. As I mentioned before, we have now a new regulation on packaging and packaging waste. The regulation is extremely complex. Putting a lot of challenges on producers, users, and national and regional authorities. Implementation is going to be quite difficult, but finally, there is a recognition of a role of bio-based plastic in packaging, because the European Commission and the regulation, specifically Article 8 of the regulation, commits the European Commission to come up with a proposal to develop sustainability criteria and targets for the presence of bio-based plastics in packaging. So this is an opportunity, but of course now we need to deliver. And I think the projects that we saw today are going in the right direction. Upcycling is a very ambitious goal because, as I said, so far, innovation in packaging in the European Union has not been really promoted. And we need to start from a situation where basically recycling is downcycling. And this is something that slowly, a lot of stakeholders, governments, national authorities, industries, and producers are realizing. So there are opportunities with the new commission highlighting a clean industrial deal, committing to review the bioeconomy strategy and to come up with a new circular economy act. So far, those are very top-level messages sent by the president of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Hopefully, the Commission is going finally to deliver, particularly on promotion in packaging and the kind of innovation advocacy right now. And finally, there will be a role for member states, for governments. There will be a role for the EPR, the extended producer responsibility schemes, dealing with packaging, and particularly dealing with innovative packaging. I can give you the example of Italy. We are really surprised that there is only one member state out of 27, in this case Italy, that has implemented a specific EPR schemes for bio-based and biodegradable packaging. What about the other 26 member states? So there is a lot to do in terms of investments, in terms of upgrading infrastructure, but above all, there must be a political will. This commission seems to be now on the right path. We will see, and it will be also up to us, stakeholders, brands, users of packaging, to push for upcycling solutions for the packaging. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's I would say a pretty optimistic account of what is going on, what we can expect in the future. Any other thoughts on this question?
Yes, I would like to add.
You.
Thank you, Rosa González from Mindplus. I would like to add that it's very important that the topics for the different calls and European projects are very aligned with this, because this allows promoting these developments, the increase of TRLs, and this is very important in order to progress and to be aligned with these regulatory issues.
Yes, thank you. Would you, Maria, would you like to add something? If we can hear you, if you have solved the issues with the microphone.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. Great to see you. Okay.
Thank you, and sorry. Well, I agree with all that Rosa and Roberto have said about that, and if I may, I would like to explain how Moebius project is going to collaborate with the policies to to fill the gaps that they have now. If I may, I will share a small presentation.
Thank you very much. We've heard other projects, so it would be great to see what the novel project could bring.
Perfect. So I think you can see it now.
I cannot. Ah, great. It's there.
Okay, perfect. So, well, Moebius is focused on upcycling, as you can see, of packaging, textile, and agricultural sectors, and is focused on fill the gaps that this process have now, such as the policies and so on. So, Moebius has the mission to establish circular sustainable value chains for bioplastics that will be found in packaging, textile, and agriculture waste streams.
This will involve bioplastic collection and sorting, recycling with the most technique and further upcycling into added valued products. So Moebius will accompany and support the growth of bioplastic in the market by providing effective and scale end-of-life solutions. Moebius Consortium is formed by 21 partners covering the three entire value chains and spread across Europe. And Moebius aims to develop solutions from bioplastic waste for the three value chains and thus establishing a novel model for the BIOS end of life in Europe. So how are we going to address this challenge? Moebius is an atypical project in the sense that it starts the activities that are usually taken at the end of the projects, the evaluation of the end of life. So as you can see in the scheme, we are going to start with the collection step of plastic waste, in which we will find both fossil and bio-based bioplastics, and then we will optimize the sorting step by developing specific identification technologies to ensure the separation of the biopolymers. And these wastes will be treated by different technologies following a hierarchical approach to optimize resources. And this means that whenever possible, priority will be given to those treatments that consume less energy, solvents, etc. And sorry, considering mechanical recycling in first place, followed by biorecycling, chemical recycling, and finally thermochemical recycling. And then the recovered bioplastics will undergo an upcycling process in which they will be modified in order to obtain properties suitable for high value added applications in the packaging, culture and textile sector, closing the loop. And this will be achieved by a multi-actor approach with presence in the project of waste manager, industry, citizens, brand owners, researchers, and policy makers. So this will help to update the standardization bodies in the project from the very beginning. Will ensure this adaptation to this new bioplastic world, let's say. So we are the upcycling routes that we are going to follow. All three value chains have the same starting point. The plastic recovered through the different treatment mentioned previously. And for the packaging demonstrator, a first step of formulation and compounding of the recovered plastic with additives and other biopolymers will be done to optimize their properties. And then will be transformed into a tray and characterized. And finally, will be validated in a real environment, considering the evaluation of its viability to preserve ready-to-eat food. A similar approach will follow for the agriculture demonstrator, formulating materials with the recycled polymers, transforming them into different agricultural products, considering not only flexible agriculture films, but also pots, nets, and tutors, whose production and performance will be validated in an industrial environment. And last but not least, recovered plastic will be tested for textile applications by mallet spinning process, optimizing their properties by a texturation process, and developing final demonstrators such as shopping bags and clothes. And finally, final products will be tested not only in terms of properties, but also in terms of microplastic release. And to sum up, the multidisciplinary approach of Moebius will provide numerous benefits, as you can see, such as preventing landfilling and incineration of biopolymers, decreasing the consumption of virgin polymers, implementation of new business models within the three sector study, and creation of standardization good practices and a decision support system to minimize the impacts of the technologies applied in Moebius. And finally, new added value bio-based and recycling products will be tested for 3 different applications. So that's all of my project. I just wanted to explain how we are going to proceed in the next 4 years. And let's hope that we contribute to these new policies.
Okay. Would you like to maybe add something now or later during the discussion? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So Moebius puts forward some very ambitious and technological advancements, and I really hope you will achieve everything, and that in 4 or 5 years' time we could enjoy the benefits of your technologies. So far, during the presentations and during the discussion, we have unfortunately identified quite a few gaps in the current EU upcycling framework. Obviously, they cannot be all sorted simultaneously. We have to make some prioritization. So which of them do you think need immediate attention in your opinion? Fuensanta, could you maybe share your thoughts on these questions about the prioritization of tackling policy gaps that we have identified?
Well, there are several challenges and gaps. For example, Roberto highlighted the need of finding a proper management of waste in terms of biodegradable packaging. For example, we want to introduce this kind of packaging in the market and compete with a kind of packaging that has been used for many years. But we need some policy that help us or help this kind of packaging to be introduced in the market. And as he said, it is important also to give a solution to the waste that they are generating. So harmonization of the policies in the different countries and trying to share like solutions that have been implemented in one country and trying to replicate or implement these good ideas in another country by collaborating and by harmonizing the different solution and the different management procedures or models. That's an important part when developing the European policies, harmonization and sharing good ideas between countries. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is a very good point, that sharing ideas and learning from good practices, as Roberto already mentioned, a very good and noble practice in Italy of having EPR for biodegradable plastics. That is something other countries could learn as well. Maybe, Roberto, if you could give more details about these topics, about the gaps that you think should be prioritized by the European Commission.
Yeah, I totally agree with Fuensata. I think that, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we
okay.
can hear you. Thank you, Alberto.
I think that it's very important to harmonize the legislative framework in order to advance and try to follow the way, no, in order to make more mature these new biological strategies, okay, recycling strategies. And also I think that as Fuensanta has taught, the sorting is very important. In my opinion, for example, I have an optimistic point of view that from the European administration are considering this new upcycling or biological chemical recycling strategies. I am optimistic, but I'm conscious that we are in a starting point. I wanted to, for example, from the legal perspective, okay, I wanted to highlight one point. For example, in order to defend that we are, I think, in the way to legislate these new strategies or standardize these new strategies. For example, in the the plastic food contact legislation, I think that it was published, I think, in 2022, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was considered, for example, novel technologies. So in this new document is open to new recycling or upcycling strategies. Okay, so before this document, chemical or biological or enzymatic degradation or recycling, it wasn't contemplated in the legal framework. Okay, so in this point, is open. Okay, it's a window that is open to new strategies. Okay, so I think that we have to be optimistic but conscious that we are in the first step in the legal development of these new strategies. But it's quite important, for example, also the harmonization for try to make more competitive the product that we are going to obtain, because if the product are not economical competitive, it's impossible to to continue with the mature process.
Yes, thank you. It's good to hear that obviously the European Commission has heard some of the pressing issues of the industry and has put forward already some of the legislation in the recent years, and hopefully would continue with it. Roberto, I think you wish to add something before.
Of course, where is the big gap now? I mean, the gap is also providing market opportunities to these kind of solutions that you are exploring. Also partly promoted by the European Commission, also promoted from the financial point of view. Unfortunately, we don't have the same incentives to to promote market opportunities for those solutions. This is a huge gap. So there must be dedicated financing schemes to bring those solutions up to scale and to open market opportunities, because as of today, I would say there are a lot of market barriers, and we need to tackle those barriers and transform them in, in opportunities, in stimulus. This is a huge gap at the moment in terms of financing innovation in packaging. Another huge gap, as we said before, is also the harmonization of the legislation. But the money, the economic factor is important, also because we cannot ignore that there will be more and more competition for bio-based feedstocks. There will be more and more competition to use bio feedstocks for energy production, for example. I mean, at the moment, the European Union only subsidize energy production. There are not a comprehensive harmonized scheme to incentivize material production and to incentivize the kind of transition from fossil resources to bio-based resources. So there are huge gaps that we need to address. But as I said before, we need really a cooperative effort. So between producers, users, farmers, big brands, to address those gaps.
Thank you very much. Very, very, very good insights. Obviously, this is not limited to this application. It's a really multi-sector, multi-dimensional approach across different sectors, across different countries. So it could be all aligned basically to have the full effect of the policies in the future. Thank you very much. Well, we don't have very much time, so let's turn to the future. In your expert opinion, what does the future of upcycling looks like in Europe? How can EU policies adapt to ensure long-term success in this regard? Christina, as a scientific coordinator, could you please give your insights on these topics, if you could?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's always difficult to really predict what the future will bring, but I think considering that all packaging should be recyclable by 2030, I think a next step would then be also to demand a certain amount of recycled polymer to be contained in the respective packaging, and that across all packaging sectors. Of course, that's difficult, and of course there are also heterogeneity in the waste management systems, obviously. But I think it will help, this pressure to have it recyclable will help to drive innovations. However, it will be difficult, I think, for bio-based innovations at the moment without, additional measures to really compete with PET, for instance, with fossil-based PET. Also because of the amounts that are available, for instance, about the purity and the performance after recycling, and also because in some systems, it depends, for instance, in Germany, really recycled in terms of material recovery are only monomaterials that are form stable. So for instance, trays, which of course at the moment minimizes and limits the potential for other materials. However, nevertheless, I think the pressure is on, and I think there will be even more pressures with new policy recommendations and new standardization and additional measures. Bio-based plastic will make a greater share in the market.
Yes, thank you. Maria, Jose, would you say something on this regard, please? Turn on the mic.
Yes, yes. Sorry. Well, I think that as I explained, projects and initiatives such as Moebius are aligned with the future of upcycling. I mean, we need to study how to improve the recovered materials to make possible this upcycling process, and to try to bring the best from the used materials to have a sustainable value chain. And regarding the policies, I think that policymakers need to be aligned with this work that we have been doing in different projects that now have started or are about to start. So maybe in our case, we are going to do some workshops and different sessions with them to try to be aligned with let's say the technical work with the standardization. So I think that that will help to have a bright future for the upcycling.
Yes, thank you. Well, obviously, there will be a lot of delegating and implementing acts to be developed in the next few years. So we will probably have to find a way that the industry input, and especially novel projects knowledge, let's so say, is implemented into these acts. I would now try to close the discussion because we are running out of time. But I would like to ask our panelists, whoever is willing, all of them maybe, to point out their final remarks, what they think is their final message regarding the matching of the EU policies and the needs for the innovative upcycling solutions. Please take the floor, whoever is willing to provide their insights.
I'm providing some new insight, how we involve citizens and consumers in these policies. We want to introduce new products. We think that they are sustainable, they are friendly with the environment, but we need the consumers and the citizens to be informed, to fight against greenwashing, and to be transparency, and make them know that these new solutions are beneficial. So that's an important part of policies, how to reach the final citizen and the final consumers.
Thank you. Your EU is already working, as I know, on these issues. It's very important, really. So, yes.
Well, if I may jump in on this issue of consumers, sorry. I mean, 2 years ago, McKinsey, I think everybody knows this company, ran a global survey at global level. So European Union, United States, Japan, Asia. And interestingly enough, the first criteria consumers consider as good for the environment was compostability of packaging. I see this has been rarely used by the European Commission until today, but you know, because the consumers are partly aware and they're already willing to change and to transition, particularly packaging, from fossil to non-fossil sources. So I think the bases are already there. We need now to build something more. But in this respect, consumers, I think, are very well aware about the challenges we are facing in terms of sustainability of packaging. And second, and then I shut up, do not forget that the European Union has an overall goal to generate at least 20% of carbon used in chemicals and plastics production from non-fossil sources by 2030. So we need to strive to achieve this goal. And in any case, this is our engagement with EU policymakers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Because we're there at the end. Thank you very much. Yes.
If I may, yeah, I think
the floor. Don't lose any more time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. That was a very interesting panel, and I think there are coming some questions. I see a question in the chat, and since you're all here with the cameras on, I think that we can transition smoothly to this question that I see here in the chat. Unless Fernanda, would you like to put the question out loud, or if you want, I can read it out loud. I have whatever you prefer. Anyone that wants actually to put any questions, please, you can either raise your hands and open your mics, and then I'll call you to read your question out loud. Otherwise, I can read it from the chat. You can Hello, hi Fernanda. You can welcome. Thank you very much for putting our first question to the Q&A. Please go ahead.
Okay, hello, thank you very much. Actually, I'm Fernanda Acosta. I'm part of the upP-ET project representing DigiTouch. And my question is, well, we have been discussing, rightfully so, about the creation of awareness to end consumers. However, is there any other strategy that all of you have been thinking about when we're discussing about private companies and industries? Because as Roberto was saying, the awareness is there. Like consumers are already aware that we have to change the consumption behavior. So other than changing the policies and regulations, is there any other idea like from your side? Thank you.
Anyone wanted to take this, the hot potato?
I will try to touch the topic. Okay, it's a very good question, and I think it's a very complex question, and it's not like an easy forward answer. Because we always have to keep in mind that the industry are multiple sectors working together, and so they're interdependent. Which means that, for instance, if the consumers are more aware and are demanding something, like in the food sector, that certain companies may be willing to change their packaging depending on the price, which is always important, and also on the availability. And I think that's also a bit of a bottleneck, because then it's up to film producers, for instance, if they have this kind of material, and of course also supplier to be able to deliver this kind of material, but also to be able to process this type of material. So I think policy is important here to put some sort of driving force on this, because it's difficult for film converters to change the portfolio without having then the customers to take this material. Therefore, I think it's a matter of a combination of market demand and policy together to trying to change it in a certain direction. And also when we're talking about innovations and when developing new materials or material modifications, to try to work together as closely as possible with, for instance, packaging converters or film producers, so that you can see early if a certain type of material will run on a certain production line. Because I think that will also lower the hurdles of potential upscaling trials and a potential market penetration. But of course, that will only work if they then have the customers on the other hand that are willing to use this material.
Thank you very much, Cristina. I hope, Fernanda, this is somehow useful. This
I mean,
maybe
it's
someone,
actually,
yeah,
it's actually an effort from everything, right? And I totally agree with Cristina. It's a matter. It's different axes here. It's a term of industry. It's a term of like supply chain too, right? But it was actually more than a question. It's actually kind of like a food for thought, also from our side, right? Because one thing is to create these policies and these programs with marketing, and of course, I mean, there is nothing else to do, honestly. But I just wonder if thinking like in a business perspective, right? Is there some kind of modeling that would be easier, like according to the different supply chain level and so on. So it's just for that. It's yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may, I mean,
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We should just look at the disaster of the car industry in Europe, at the disaster of the solar industry in Europe, of the wind industry in Europe. We lost all the innovation trains so far. Okay, the basic innovation trains for transition to a sustainable planet. We lost them. And now we cannot afford to do the same with the materials, such as packaging, such as biological sourced materials for our economy. This is going to be a fundamental shift, but we cannot afford to lose the train of innovation also in this respect. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, looking at the tragedies of those sectors now, that we should learn some lessons. And, you know, in particularly politicians, I can mention at least 5-6 names of global brands in the food sectors that already developed their biological sourced packaging solutions. They don't dare to put them in the market, particularly because of economic reason, because of the cost, and because of lack of certainty from the legal framework in the European Union. That's the point. But again, looking at the disasters we got in other innovative sector, we should learn lessons and act swiftly. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Does anyone want to add to this train of thought? I think it's pretty interesting, right? Actually, I think that if I may add my 2 cents as well, and this is why in this project we didn't have the time to explain everything that we're doing in these projects, right? Which in all of them we look at consumer perception, consumer awareness, to business models, and one of the key aspects of these projects is to keep on researching. So the expertise, the brains, it's there in the European Union. That's not a question, right? The expertise is there, and the investment in research and innovation in Europe, it's there, and then certain things comes from later. And what these projects are doing is keep on researching and innovating to reduce these costs, right? To make this easier, to have like no excuses, right? To do the shift. And that's what is so beautiful about it, me as working in these projects, to see this actually, and frustrating then when, well, there you identify the hurdles and exactly. I'll go to the participants, to the audience, and ask if anyone else has a question. Otherwise, we have 4 minutes left. I think that I'm not going to throw a question so that we then go into it, but could I ask you to maybe just for 1 sentence what I get away from the white paper and from the webinar for today, just 1 sentence each, and then we'll close it here. And we can tell the audience, of course, to go look at the white paper. I've put the link in the chat, and then you can always reach out to us for any comments and questions on that. So maybe Alexandra, you also, I'd like to ask you for your get away message. Hey, you're muted. Sorry.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much. It's been a really great discussion and great presentations. One can really learn a lot from this. But as a policy analyst, I always have to put direct a finger to the government at the member state level, candidate country level, and of course, European Commission. You have to do more to enable transition to a sustainable and circular society. You have to do more, and you have to cooperate and listen to the industry and to innovative projects. That is my closing remark on this regard. Now you are muted.
Now I'm muted, Maria Jose. You're next in my screen.
Well, I think that, as Alessandra said, governments have a lot to do in this sense, and also I think that big industries have a lot of power to try to also work with the consumers to achieve the more awareness and acceptance of these new sustainable solutions. So I think that they are also the ones that can help to have a better future for this product also.
Thank you, Maria Jose. Cristina, you're next in my screen.
Yeah, I think it's pretty apparent that we need harmonization, not just on policy level, but also on industrial level when we're talking about upcycling. So that efforts like harmonization on the policy can really have an effect on industrial level.
Very well, thank you. Roberto?
I think we need to recognize the need to innovate. Otherwise, both in terms of economic and social consequences will be dire. I mean, we have other regions of the world that I don't want to make names that are already ahead of us in this respect. So innovation is key, and so far has not been picked up at the right level, both from the European Commission and the European institution and national governments. Either we innovate or we die.
That's pretty catastrophic, but also everyone hits on the nail. And Fuensanta?
I agree with Robert. Innovation is a must. We can't achieve anything without an innovation and collaboration in the innovation also, because we have to tackle different kind of expertise, different kind of knowledge and disciplines. So collaboration is also very important in the innovation.
Thank you very much. I think we might have lost Rosa and Alberto, that they are sitting at the same facility. There might have been a technical glitch, so we will excuse them and maybe next time put them to them. And with this, it's 12 o'clock sharp. Thank you very much. We made it. We made it on time, and we made this webinar work. I hope that it was a good experience for our audience, that they find the white paper useful and insightful. And I really give you a very big thanks to all of you participating in this webinar, to all of you who contributed to the white paper. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. And we will share with you all the recording and the presentations in due time with the participants we uploaded to the website. And thank you very much. Thank you, Rena. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.